Hey, what's up, guys? So I don't know if you guys have heard, but Kevin Samuels may be dead. That's scary as hell. As much as he has put black women down, I would hate for something like that to have happened to him. It hasn't been confirmed, but I really hope that this is some sort of hoax, because it's he hasn't posted anything. They've been talking about it on Twitter. They are talking about it in his last video under his comments. But again, I know that brother just, dogged, okay, the black woman. I'm not going to sit here and say some things were not true. Okay, I will be sitting here lying to you in your face. If he is, rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. Oh my gosh, I would never thought I'd be saying that.
So there you go. That, I believe, should have been a lot of people's reaction. That may have disagreed with him and his teachings, ideologies, studies, whatever. For anyone that may have disagreed with him or flat out disliked him completely, it's okay to dislike a person, but at the same time, you can have a level of respect for someone. And there's a lot of people that are disrespectful as hell. Disrespectful as hell. By laughing, by celebrating, by some enjoying their blueberry muffins as they realize that Kevin Samuels is gone. Some of y'all straight up cruel and wrong. We should not be wishing death or celebrating a person being gone at all. I don't care who you are. You are a living soul just as much as they were. Y'all act like this man was Hitler or somebody. Like he was taking people's lives away, putting them in FEMA camps, or doing stuff to children, or like y'all just making it seem like he was doing some cruel stuff. All he was really doing is voicing his opinion and stating the facts and the obvious in which what is happening here in America, here within the black community and beyond. That's all he was doing. I mean, last time I checked, I thought that was America. The land of free, home of the brave, where we're able to voice our opinions, beliefs, religions, beyond. But we're at this point where now everybody is canceled if you don't like the person or what they got to say. And I'm just like, really? There are women that are on YouTube, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subscribers, that are teaching other women on how to become shakedown artists and how to squeeze men's bank accounts. Spencer speaks about that if you want to see the video of how athletes, as a prime example, go broke. He speaks about that. And there are women that have their dedicated channels teaching other women how to make these athletes go broke. And athletes, as far as I know, takes up a bulk of a percentage within the entertainment space when it comes to football, basketball, baseball, all those. As a whole, black people are more athletes than anybody else, any other race. Which means a lot of them are taking their dollars. When athletes, if they were smart enough, they will, for one, see that they're being used, and then for two, use the money that they have, use the platform that they have to invest back within our community. Something that Kevin Samuels was trying to bring up and bring awareness to. So y'all think he was just on the woman. What most failed to realize is that he started with men before he started talking to women. He started with men before he started talking to women. But y'all didn't know that though. Y'all oftentimes just take a clip of something that you might have heard from an article or from someone else's podcast, and then they tweak it, they twist it, change the narrative, and then boom, make it mean something else that he never intended to say. Kind of like, Cam Newton. How this dude grew up with both of his parents being married for like 30, 40 years. So he know what a woman looks like when he see one, because he learned it from his mother and his grandmother. And was talking about how a man, should be, because he learned it from his father. And, talked about certain things about how, women, catering to a man, into his needs and things of that matter. I remember saying the comment how this woman was saying, well, if we got to cater to your needs and this, that, and the third, then you a baby, you a child. I'm not finna cater to no man's needs. Well, then you shouldn't be in a relationship then. These are things that Kevin Samuels was trying to bring to light. His delivery might have been a bit harsh, but sometimes you got to give a little tough love. Ain't that what we do within the black community? We give that tough love. But when it's coming from a man, it's wrong. You're not supposed to do it. But if the tough love comes from a woman, it's okay. I've heard far worse from men and women. This man don't deserve to be praised upon and preyed on for his death. It's just wrong. Even then, I'll go as far as saying this, Mr. Johnson, Brother Johnson, Dr. Johnson, let me rather say out of respect. This guy had some things to say, and reportedly there was beef in between him and Kevin Samuels about certain things and topics that Kevin Samuels had to say, how he felt that he was belittling and bringing down the black woman. But I mean, you can also argue that he wasn't. He was just stating the obvious facts and things that was really happening. When he was bringing up 70% of divorce rates, is led by the woman, that's a real thing. That wasn't to degrade a woman. He was just letting you know, women, y'all are constantly divorcing a man, and the question is why. One of those points that he also brought is over 50% of those divorces led by the 70% of women. It was because of financial problems or situations that arise. And you can argue some of them wanted that lifestyle, that Instagram lifestyle. They wanted to have that fancy thing all the time. They wanted their man to have that ambition to have their own business and make six figures, if not $1 million, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, if he ain't doing it, then I can't continue to stay here. And so things like that was brought up, and women did not like that. We should be entitled to our own opinion. I'm a boss B, so you need to be making your money too. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. And let me give you some insight. Not everybody is feasible to become an entrepreneur. There are plenty of brothers out here that make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, and that they're doing just fine. They go on vacations every now and then. They have fun. They go out to eat. They have a house. They have a nice car. They're managing their money correctly. So one day they can become a multimillionaire by investing their money correctly. But right now they're working their dream job. I have an uncle. He works his dream job. He makes $90,000 a year, but he works a job. His house ain't the fanciest in the world, but he knows where he's going. He knows where he's going. So what's wrong with the average man is one of the biggest points that he was trying to bring out. What's wrong with the average man? And so by having a woman, quote unquote, bring her standards down to be okay with dating the average man, somehow that's bringing the woman down and her standards. No, it's just saying that a lot of the standards that you have, it ain't even things that she's asking for. It's things that she's demanding. They're unrealistic. I did a reaction to that. You know, me and my a good friend of mine, we did a reaction to how women have these long lists of expectations. If you haven't seen that, here's the video right here. Check that out. If you haven't seen that. But let's see what Mr. Dr. Johnson had to say about Kevin Samuels. He said, I did not agree with the message or the method, but I've seen our community repeatedly celebrate celebrities who have done far worse than Mr. Kevin Samuels. I'm going to give you a prime example. Elvis Presley. See, the white community, they're always going to hold each other, and they're always going to hold their men to the highest regard and make sure that they keep their legacy going. Elvis Presley has some things going on. He was messing with like a 13, 14-year-old child at the time. But they not going to bring that in the news, especially during his death, because they go protect one another. Why can't we do the same within our own community? We already had people bashing before the day was even over. You know, some woman allegedly bringing up accusations about Kobe Bryant when he passed away. I'm just like, what? Our black man is not protected under any circumstances. Really? But it goes on to say, I don't like to see insults and mockery aimed at our recently departed. He has a family and possibly children. He does have children. I send them my deepest condolences as I ask the Most High to shrink his faults and expand his virtues. May the ancestors receive him with good fortune on the other side. Rest in peace, or rest in paradise, brother. That's coming from Mr. Johnson himself. And he disliked his message and methods, but he still had a level of respect for Kevin Samuels because he know he's within our community. That's one of the biggest problems we have is this level of respect for one another. Even then, within this news article right here, he's speaking about how his mother right here, his mother, Beverly Samuels Burke, declined to release details about what happened. She says she learned of her son's death from social media. I can only imagine how much that hurt just to find out that your son is gone from social media than opposed to getting a call from the police, from a family member, a friend, or something like that. But rather you got to hear from social media. And then you got to see or hear all these people dancing on this man's grave. And he ain't even in the grave yet. Just the level of pure evil, the level of disrespect, the audacity. Just shameful for some of you sisters and brothers. Absolutely shameful. Ought to be ashamed of yourself. Even then, One of the biggest questions that Kevin Samuels had was, what do you bring to the table? Oh my God. That question is it's like an evil question to the woman's ears. Do you not see me? I got all this money. I take care of my own, self. I got my own car, got my own degree. I got my cell phone bill paid and this, that, and the third. I am the table. What, you want a cookie for that? And if you believe that that's what makes you the prize, you got another thing coming, because it's called responsibilities. It's called taking care of your stuff as an adult. So oftentimes I believe these women, even then Kevin Samuels himself, they were using that as, I can do bad all by myself. I'm a boss bee. I can do all these things that a man can do. So therefore, it makes me a prize. And he like, okay. Men aren't impressed by that. Because what does it do to help benefit us? If you're going to still bound us to the traditional ways of relationships and marriage. You make all this money, you have all these degrees and businesses, but yet you're still holding me bound to have to pay 100% for everything. So where do I benefit in this success that you have? Where? That's all he was trying to bring. And so if you can't give me that, then what can you bring? Because you asking me to bring everything on my end, but if I ask you to bring certain things, now it's a problem. How dare you ask me to bring such a thing? I mean, yes, you can argue sometimes he may have minimized women by saying, even going back to the Cam Newton situation, which I don't think people really was trying to understand where Cam Newton was coming from. Even then, Kevin Samuels himself, about the whole cooking and cleaning. Those were like the basics in which a woman knew how to do back in the day. And so it's funny how when men ask for just that, if possible, it's a problem. But those were the traditional standards in which we held within our community. And believe it or not, a lot of times our men bring up, especially cooking, not to belittle or minimize a woman. It's because we rather have your food and your cooking than opposed to having to go to this restaurant and get this overpriced mess that ain't good for me. I'd rather come home and have a home cooked meal and praise my woman about how good of a job she just threw down in the kitchen than opposed to having to go to Chick-fil-A and get a doggone a chicken sandwich, for crying out loud, and some fries for $8. That's one of the reasons why people are broke, because they constantly buying food from the fast food restaurant. They barely got money left over because they always buying food than opposed to just cooking at home. And I think that's what a lot of people miss the point at. I believe Cam Newton, he would have been in that kitchen cooking with his woman too, but y'all didn't want to look at it in that point. Oh, I just got to cook for you and did do this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, really? But more importantly, man, if we ask, a woman to just be able to dress in modest apparel, to be able to be respectful, professional, presentable, understanding loyalty, respect, bringing peace to their man, that's too much to ask for. And at the end of the day, Kevin Samuels has spoken to a lot of high value men and average men. And he has spoken to a lot of so-called high value women an average woman. He understands both dynamics. He grew up with women and has a long-standing relationship with a lot of men and is revered and respected amongst those peers. He felt his job and his duty was to bring back the black community and spark conversations. His delivery might have not been accepted by most, but the truths you can't deny. If it was someone else saying the same thing, just with a different delivery, it probably would have been perceived differently. Yes. But the thing about the truth is that oftentimes is that when you're speaking the truth, especially a lot, and it's causing a person to have to critically think and then begin to put their logic in front and their hearts behind, and then look at the mirror dead in their faces and say, okay, I need to make a change. This brother lands some sauce and I need to make a change. A lot of our black men, a lot of our black women looked at it that way and they made a change. And oftentimes you're looking at YouTube as the day progresses, as the week progresses, you will see more and more people talking about he has some things to say that changed their lives, because honestly, he changed mine. He had some critical things that he had to say that I even then had to listen to. I didn't like it, but I listened to it and I understood it and I knew where he was coming from. I knew where his heart was. It was in the right place. And I took those things and I ran with it to better myself, so I can become the best high value man I know I can become. That's what his goal and agenda was at the end of the day. The only difference was the message never changed. Even when he was talking with men, before he started talking to women, the message never changed. It was always the same. The delivery was always the same. And for women that think that he did not go ham, he did go ham on men too. But you don't know that though, because you wasn't looking at him at the very beginning. All you do is listen to what you're hearing from other articles and the gossip, the gossip that other people are saying about him, and tweaking the narrative and changing his words and putting things in that otherwise wasn't there. It didn't make it seem like it was something bad that it really wasn't, oftentimes. But I will say, did he go overboard sometimes? Yes. On a man and a woman? Yes. Did he disrespect? Potentially? Yes. But we cannot deny the truth, and we cannot deny that he sparked a conversation within the black community that is constantly making us look at the mirror and say we need to change. And the way I look at it, if you are out here and you are just praised by everybody, you ain't doing something right. Because anybody that's out there, you're going to be hated by someone. Especially when you're speaking the truth, you're probably going to have more haters than you do supporters. You're probably going to have more haters than supporters. So you go get crucified. But it's the territory that you have to face if you want to get to where you want to be at. At the end of the day, that's just where we come down to. So, guys, look at yourselves in the mirror. Figure out what the problems are within your life. Stop complaining. Come with solutions to those problems. Write it down. Figure it out. Talk to other people. if you do not have family members, talk to your friends. Those people will tell you things that you need to hear. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what he was doing. He was giving that tough love, telling people what they needed to hear, whether they liked it or not. And that's what we need to do to each other. We need to get back to the fundamentals of telling each other the truth and not sugarcoating and just buttering you up and telling you things that you want to hear. We need to start telling each other what we need to know, because that's exactly what Kevin Samuels was doing himself. So at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to end it out right here. Stay determined, be effective, and have the fortitude to go through anything no matter what if you put your mind to it and you take action. Because at the end of the day, we do not teach, believe, and receive on this channel. A lot of people can believe a lot of things. That doesn't mean they are deserving of those very things. You got to work for what it is that you want in life. Just like Kevin Samuels did. And point of order, the dude, he could have started a course a long time ago. I remember watching an interview where, they was talking about, why haven't you started a course, so you can help the community and this, that, and the third. I'm doing that, but I don't want to start a course, because he knew the problems that would arise with starting a course. And I believe that he would have had a credible course that could have helped people, but he didn't want to take that toll, because he already knew he had enough problems that he had to deal with. By creating the course, it was just going to be people calling him a scam at this point, because of the reputation that people have now when they start courses. Everybody's a scam. Everybody's a get rich quick guru or whatever. So he didn't want that kind of weight to also be on his shoulders. But he worked for what it is that he wanted in life. And he fulfilled a lot of his purpose. Was there other work to be done? Yes. But at this point, he's gone. And he ain't coming back. And we need to put respect on his name and give him condolences to him and his family. Because at the end of the day, like I always say, a dream is just a thought without action. Until next time, peace. Race in paradise, brother.